Hi, this is Mrs. Hall, and I would like to use this time to talk to you a little bit about the guidelines and expectations that I have for the mental illness project that we're going to be starting this week. So if you would go down to the bottom of Unit 2, you'll see under Lesson 2.5 the mental illness project. And I'm going to be covering the things that are listed here in this very first link under the guidelines and rubrics. In this project, I pretty much have everything that you need to be successful in this project and to get the best grade that you can possibly get. I have all the guidelines spelled out. I have rubrics for you listed here, and then recently I've put this SlideShare presentation in here that gives some tips on how to make a better PowerPoint presentation that's just more engaging and more appealing to your audience. I'd like to start with these project guidelines. So if you click on the project guidelines, it'll take you to this link right here, this document here, and it gives you the directions that you need to follow as you go through this presentation. The bottom line is that this presentation is going to teach the other students in the class about a particular mental illness, one that you research. We'll be choosing the mental illnesses together in class. I have a list of illnesses that need to be covered, and I need only one group to cover each mental illness. So we have a little bit of a game that we play in order to determine who researches which mental illness. But right here, I just want you to see that it is going to be a lesson that you put together that other students will be taking notes on so that they can learn the information that you have become an expert on. So in this lesson, you're going to be the teacher, and the things that you need to include are listed here in the bullets. You need an opener to catch the attention of your audience, something that is engaging. It could be a video, it could be a little pre-quiz that you give, it could be a story about someone who has this illness, it could be anything that you think of that would be somewhat engaging. Obviously, you're going to include the name of the disorder, the symptoms, the causes and possible treatments for the disorder. I also want statistics that you can find about the disorder. And an anecdotal story just means it's a story about someone's personal account of the disorder and their struggle with it. And then a video supplement that could be your anecdotal story. It also could be your opener. So you only need one video supplement, but it could serve three purposes. It could serve as the video, the anecdotal story, and the opener. And then every slide is also going to have pictures or some sort of a visual on each slide. The information that you put onto your slides, I expect it to be in your own words, paraphrased from the sources that you use, not just copied and pasted with quotation marks around it. Remember that you're sharing what you learned in your research. The students in the class need to be able to take notes on the presentation that you give. And we'll talk more about in-text citations and works cited at a later time, but please keep track of all of your sources as you use them, and you will be required to use MLA format to cite all of your sources both on a works cited slide and in text. The second page of this document talks about works cited and in-text citations. Like I said, I'm going to talk about those at a later time. Next, I'm going to go to the presentation rubric with the requirements that you need to have for your presentation. This is what your presentation is going to actually look like, and I'm going to be sitting in the back of the room with one of these rubrics as you're giving your presentation and giving you a grade on these various criteria. First of all, your title slide needs to have the name of your disorder, the names of all of your group members, a picture, and the fair use guideline statement, which I'll show you where that's located in another slide or in class. Your opener with an in-text citation that I talked about earlier, a description of the disorder, just a very quick paraphrased description, just telling us what it is in your own words. What is this disorder? The symptoms of the disorder, this could be one slide, it could be multiple slides depending on how much you need to include. And I also need you to make sure here with symptoms that you are just putting bulleted words, not complete sentences and things like that. That's too much to have on your slides. It needs to be very short and things that you then elaborate on. The causes of the disorder need to be here, same thing, bulleted and paraphrased and very short, where you are elaborating on what the things are and they're just listed there, but you tell and you explain what those things are as you're giving your presentation. And then the treatment slides, same thing. How would you treat this mental illness? Please don't feel like you have to write every medication down. especially when you can't pronounce half the medications that are listed. Just put medication or antidepressants or anti-anxiety medications, or if there's a specific class of medication. Same thing with therapy. If you just say counseling, that's fine. And then you can elaborate on some of the things they would do in counseling to help the person overcome this disorder. Besides your Works Cited slide, the last slide of information will be an interesting facts slide. This will be your statistics and things like that, different things that you find that are just of interest that don't fit into the other categories very well. In here, I've given you how I would like you to set up all of your text and animation and graphics and things like that. The more creative, the better. Making sure that the pictures that you choose, that you have one on each slide, or that there's a URL pasted underneath it, and I'll talk about that in class. That the in-text citations are smaller font than the rest of the presentation so that it doesn't distract from the information that you're trying to give. And then the rest of the things here would be in-text citations, works cited, how many sources you used, and then obviously you want to make sure you're using good spelling and grammar. It is a professional presentation, and I expect you to do your absolute best work on it. So this rubric here gives you everything that you need to know. It's spelled out very, very specifically. I know it's a lot of words on this document, but it's really worth your while to go through it and make sure that you follow it as you're creating your presentation. So I think that about does it for just the basic guidelines of what this presentation project is going to be. And then when we come back to class, we will choose our groups and decide who's going to be researching which mental illnesses. If you have any questions before then, feel free to email me.